YouTube. Thank you for coming back. Those of you who maybe watched the first part of what I'm going to discuss again, I'm going to put out a trigger warning if you've struggled with mental health, or you've been in an abusive relationship, you found yourself at your wit's end and you don't know what to do. If you're going through that now, or you've been through it, or discussing it, listening about it will upset you, please, I'd like you to pause, stop this video and just come back another time. There will be trigger warnings in each title. This is part 2. Yesterday or day before? It's part 1. I don't even know what day it is. What day is it? Thursday. So yeah, I'm just about to go into part 2 of my mental health journey story. So if you'd like to leave, that would be fine. I totally understand. It's difficult. Okay, cool. Thank you for those who stayed. Thank you for those who... I went to sleep after I shot the last vlog. And when I woke up and saw how many comments, kind, caring, supportive comments had been left under the vlog, I was blown away. I thought I'd just get loads of negative, sort of, you shouldn't be discussing that on here, and you know, somebody's gonna get triggered. Well, okay, if somebody gets triggered, I'm sorry, but I have put out efficient warnings. They're in the title and they're in everything I've said at the start, before I've even started discussing anything to do with my mental health. Sorry, I've just cleaned my face and put my moisturiser on. It's driving me mad. Sink in. Okay. Let's start from when I got home. So I'd been in the facility, the secured facility, for 10 days. And then I was able to come home as a trial to see how I got on. Still on the same medication, but that was it. There was no, and we've made you an appointment to see your psychologist or your social worker or blah, 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 blah. Nothing. So I came home with nothing going forward. So no appointments, no counsellors, no nothing going forward. So I just came home. It was like walking on eggshells for everybody. I didn't dare speak because I didn't know if I said anything, if it would all come just tumbling out. Especially with having Nemo and him being, he's got his own special needs and there's things he wouldn't understand. If I told him that I went to try and end my life, what do you think he'd say? He's going to be 10 soon, but he's mentally not 10. He's got a global developmental delay. Just something. It's my life now. I have to write it down. If I don't, I'll forget it. Right, that's for later. Okay. Yeah, you're not going to start telling your kids where you've been. Flo knew. She was, well, how old is she? God. I think. She's 20 now, so it was a few years ago, so late teens. Some might say that's selfish because she was going through her A-levels and stuff like that. I didn't want to hide it from her and then her find out later on. Because that's not how we've been. We've always been very open, very honest. Miss Dory didn't come into our lives until she was 6, so I was on my own with her for a while. when I wasn't in the abusive relationship that I was in, the one that did the most damage. And I was trapped in that for 2.5 years. That's a story for another day. So there I am at home. Medication. That was it. Oh, I tell a lie. They gave me a crisis number. And you could phone the number. If you're feeling particularly stressed, worried that you were going to hurt yourself or hurt somebody else, or you didn't feel right, or you felt you were going to have an episode of some sort, there was this crisis number. 2 nights after being home, I phoned the crisis number about 3 o'clock in the morning. My head was just going and going and going and going and going and going and going, and I couldn't stop it. And I was scared. I made Mr. Dory hide all of the door keys because I didn't want it to happen again. And if I couldn't get out, then I wouldn't end up there. That was my logic. You've got to remember, somebody with mental health issues really does go back to basics in terms of what they can do to prevent something like that happening again. So it is literally, well, if the door's locked, I can't get out. If there's no knives, I can't cut myself. You always find a way to cut yourself. You don't need a knife. Living proof of that, unfortunately. However, that said, I did manage to get sepsis. That wasn't through self-harming. That was through pneumonia. And I ended up with pneumonia and sepsis, and I was fucking ill. God, I was ill. And I was scared. So after some time, 2-3 days, I began to get a bit panicky. Phoned the crisis number. The message went something like this. I'm sorry there's nobody to take your call right now, but if you leave a message, we have a duty to respond to you within the next 4 hours. Please leave your details after the tone. Beep. That sort of stuff. 4 hours. 4 minutes. 4 seconds was too much. How the hell was I going to get through 4 hours? Dunno. I was pacing the floor. Mr. Dory was in bed with Nemo, and I was pacing the floor, pacing the floor. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I know I'll have a drink. That'll calm me down. I'll have a drink. If only I knew that once I took the lid off that bottle, it would become another demon. But you don't think like that. When you're at home again, everything's supposed to be back to normal. In your mind, you think, right, I'm home. I must be okay. Everything's back to normal. Except all these people that said they were going to help me never appeared. Not for weeks, months. My first counselling session was 2 months after I was sectioned. 2 months. Not that I wanted counselling anyway. I know what my demons are, thank you. I've known for a long time, and I'm not being facetious. And I really don't mean that disrespectfully for those who work in mental health. You are fucking angels. You are sent from a place that I can't imagine exists. The amount of stress that must give you, and you be able to shut that off and shut that down and not always take that home. I couldn't do it. I'm way too much of an empath to do that. Can't do that. If I think anybody's upset, I'm there straight away. What's wrong? And I won't leave them until I'm sure they're okay. And by okay, I mean they're going to function. They're not going to walk into the middle of the road and get killed deliberately, or jump off a railway bridge, or lie down on a railway track, you know. the health system here, the mental health system here in our NHS trust is fucked. Absolutely. Absolutely. There isn't anybody I could ring now for help other than Samaritans or non-emergency NHS helpline number. Non-emergency. If you're sat there and you're self-harming, that's not an emergency. You strike the wrong place, you're dead. So, over the coming weeks, Mr. Dory and I talked about what we could do together going forward, what I could do going forward, what he could do going forward, so that I had as much support in place outside of the system as possible. And that's what we did. We researched help centres, we researched charities, mental health, Mind. I got in touch with Mind. They are fantastic. The work that those guys do, and what I saw in that facility, Jesus, scared the shit out of me. It was different. That was the problem. I was different, and two other people were different, and then this one person came in and they were completely different to us three, and it totally wiped out the dynamic that the three of us had. We kind of gelled because the three of us had the same kind of mental illness, and this one person came in and was very extreme compared to us. Now, why would you do that? You wouldn't. That's like putting, in my mind, that was like putting a 3-year-old in a class of 8-year-olds that have got more advanced and more this, more that, more the other. This person was basically chemically imbalanced from head to toe in lots and lots of ways. Didn't wash, didn't bathe, didn't wash their clothes, didn't keep themselves clean, didn't eat, didn't brush their hair, didn't tidy up after themselves. This was this was like the common area where we would all have to go and eat together, all have to go and maybe watch TV together, that sort of thing, only because, there was no TVs in the rooms, in our own rooms where we were, and this person just didn't join in at all, as in, if I was making myself a cup of coffee, I would offer whoever else was there to make a cup of coffee, not because I felt I had to, but out of courtesy. But this person was completely different. They were shut down, they were closed down, they'd been on the streets, and to me that was counterproductive for their recovery and ours, because it was completely different, and yet we were all put in the same bag. Does that make sense? If you're schizophrenic, would you be put in a bag or a group with somebody who's got PTSD, post-traumatic stress, you know what I mean, you know what I mean? You wouldn't expect that, because the person that's maybe schizophrenic or psychotic or both is much more of a, I want to say flight risk, than somebody with post-traumatic stress disorder. Do you understand what I mean by that? And that's not being unfair to anybody with post-traumatic stress disorder at all. Or the other way, it's just the treatment is different. And when you're put in that kind of setting with that one little thing that just tips the seesaw the wrong way, the knock-on effect is amazing. So when I got home, I hadn't actually had any help at all. Just been given this crisis number. So Next time I talk to you, I'm going to tell you about what we did next. As a family, as man and wife, as me, as Mr. Dory. I'm going to end it there because I can literally just do like 10-15 minutes, then I have to stop. Thank you for listening. I hope you're alright. I did read all your comments from last time, and please, if you feel that you can't cope, please comment, please get in touch with somebody. Don't keep it quiet. Don't keep it silent. It won't help you in the long run, I promise you that. It won't. Talk to a stranger, talk to me. Ask for my email, whatever, and we can chat. But don't be on your own. Because that's what makes it worse, okay? I'll see you guys soon, part 3. Thank you.